I've created a temporary neck for spraying, just out of a piece of towel going into the neck pocket. You can do this with bolt-on necks. Might not work quite the same for set necks, and certainly not through necks. And just using the existing screw holes in the body, I've put some screws through to secure that temporary neck to the body so that I can, I guess, clamp it to anything I like. Do some spraying, open the clamps, flip it over, reclamp it, spray the other side. I've got 3 coats on so far of that enamel clear coat. I sometimes slip and call it lacquer because some websites call it lacquer. It's not lacquer in the traditional sense, it is enamel. Some observations. So when I did the grain fill, the grain fill went into the lower parts of the wood, the recesses, the grooves where the grain is. But I didn't put in a really thick, heavy grain fill. And so there is still some low parts, which is okay. I don't mind that. I think it actually gives it a bit of character. But what I'm noticing, so I used a couple of different types of colouring here. I used the spirit-based dyes for the light colours, the red and the yellow, and I used that oil-based stain. And the oil-based stain settled in the lower parts of the wood that were still there. And that's fine. It looks really nice how it's done that. So you can see over here the stain hasn't covered over the red so much, but what it's done is these lower parts of the wood are very black, whereas down here it's not so much. And that's quite a nice effect, sort of a tiger stripe going on. It's cool. But what I'm seeing is in the very large low areas where the stain gathered, the enamel on top is not adhering quite as well. And I'm not certain why that is. It could actually be that because that's so porous and I haven't filled it very heavily, it's sucking in all the enamel into the wood. That's possible. It's not a disaster. In fact, I still think that looks quite cool, having the highs and lows still there, so that when I do come to, and I think I will do this, thinking about it, when I come to lightly flat sand and polish, those there won't be part of the flat. There'll still be some canyons in this, and I've seen that done where it looks really nice. So we'll see how this turns out. In any case, let's press on. Over the next couple of days, I will continue to put on clear coats of enamel. I've got 7 layers on here now. Is it 6 or 7? I think it's 7. I can tell that it's really thick on there. The last few layers I've put on have been quite thick, to the point where they run and pool and puddle, and make little drips, which is not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. So it means it's very thick, but it also means I would have had to do flat sanding anyway. And that's the kind of thing I will fix with flat sanding. This enamel lacquer, this particular brand, goes touch dry very quickly, although I'm leaving fingerprints. Not the end of the world. I'm going to be sanding it soon. But of course, before I do the wet and dry sanding, to flat sand it, I need it to be more than touch dry. I need it to start curing, which is when it goes hard. So to achieve that, I will leave it for a week over in my drying cabinet.